Hey, good morning, good morning. What up, Facebook? What up, IG? It's your girl, Sheree Robin. We live and live in color with stuff floating in my eye right now. But good morning to you guys. Hey, how's everybody doing? Happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday. I am just happy to be alive. I am super exhausted this morning because I taught last night because it's Tuesday. And of course, I teach on Tuesdays because that is the night. Good morning. That is when we do the coaching intensive, the Write Your Book, Build Your Brand coaching intensive. And I love to teach. Those of you who know me at this moment and have spent some time with me at this point know that that is one of my most favorite things in the whole wide world is teaching. I love sharing good information and valuable content with people. And it gives me access, right? Teaching, writing gives me the nerd in me access to you as a writer, right? I get to see how you think. I get to see what's going on and how you're putting words together. And I like to kind of trace backwards and see how you get to certain thoughts and where you're trying to go with it. So it's a dual pleasure for me in teaching. I get to be all the nerd that I am, and then I get to help you become a better writer. So Tuesday nights are designed for teaching, hence why our sister is so tired this morning. But because I give all I got when I teach. So yes, last night was amazing, and it made me think about an issue that comes up all the time when it comes to writing. So if someone were to ask me, Sheree, what is the most beneficial thing that you can do or teach writers when it comes to sharing their story, when it comes to, talking about themselves, one of the things that I wish I could just bash into everybody's head, right, is this concept of really just stop cheating your readers. So we'll unpack that in a second, but the overall big premise behind it is stop cheating your readers, right? I'm going to explain what that means in a moment. So first, let me just say good morning. Good morning. Make sure you say good morning, hit those likes, those shares, all that good stuff. Say good morning, and then we're going to get into what that means when you cheat your reader. And we talked about this last night in our session. So what does that mean? Okay. What that means, so I'll show you what it looks like, right? I'll tell you exactly what that looks like. What that means is good morning. What that means is you write something, right? So you are trying to tell your story. You are trying to convince somebody that what you've gone through is has changed your life, and you have inside information to help improve their lives somehow. So you say to them, and this is what happens so much so, it'll come across very much like this in the writing, and it'll be, I endured these things, or life was hard for me, but I made it through. Life was hard for me. 5 words. 5 words, right? You have, in essence, summed up your entire life in 5 words. You cheating. That's not how this works. You can't convince me of something. You can't motivate me to do something by summing up your entire life in 5 words. It was a difficult time. I don't know how I made it, but I'm so glad I did. Made what? What did you do? What happened? What actually took place? And I say this to you guys, it's so important because it is what happens when people, it's the first process of writing, right? When you, good morning. It's the first process of writing. So you do this natural brain dump. You kind of start off with all these things that you want to cover. I want to talk about this part of my life. All right. So when you note that, when you say, I want to talk about that, your job is to talk about it. Your job is now, as the writer, is to get into the specifics about it. It's to tell us exactly what that means. If I were to say to you, and I shared a picture of myself a few weeks ago, losing almost 80 pounds. This is why y'all see me in my fitness gear this morning. I'm going to the gym as soon as I leave, as soon as I'm done this morning, right? I could not get up and say to somebody that, I was unhappy with the way that I looked, so I lost weight. So I lost weight. That's 4 words. That's 4 words. Nowhere in there am I illustrating for you what that really looked like for me. Nowhere in there am I explaining to you what that means when I got up at 5:15 and went to Orange Theory Fitness. Nowhere am I telling you what that looks like when I have the meal prep and plan out and blend smoothies. Nowhere is that telling you I had to cut carbs. Nowhere am I telling you I had to run miles. Nowhere did I tell you the exhaustion, the headache, the sweat, the desperation, the frustration, the annoyance, the money. Nowhere have I explained any of that to you. I just summed up everything everything I've gone through in 4 or 5 words. And you as writers do it so often. It is one of the most common things that I see when it comes to writing. I'm not going to get into all of the in-depth stuff. If you want to learn more about, extending that concept, then you got to take the course. You got to take the course. But there is really, you have to start, for what I can give you at this place is start to understand that you're so much more than just those few words. And you have to be able to extend your thinking, your verbiage beyond just a summary of your life, right? This is how I got through this situation. Oh, it was difficult for me. Oh, this happened. And now, I'm a prize fighter. Nowhere did I tell you how I went training. Nowhere did I tell you about what I suffered and what I endured. People talk about it, and it happens so common in every area of our lives. And I think one of the major reasons is because people forget, one, how valuable you really are. You forget how really valuable your story and your situation really, really is. So you skirt past it. You kind of wrap it up and go, okay, well, I endured that. Or, I was in this rough relationship, but I got through that. Well, sis, ain't you trying to help me get through the rough relationship? Don't you think you might want to give me some tips and pointers on how to get through that thing, as opposed to making it seem like you just snapped your fingers and got through it? So what happens is, because we don't count ourselves as valuable sometimes, we undersell our stories. So we don't even realize that those moments, those blood, sweat, tears moments, those frustrating moments, those you're not quite sure what to do moments, those are the moments that matter. Those are the moments that your reader needs to hear about. That moment where you had to drag yourself to the gym, that moment where you had to lay down on the altar, that moment where you had to give everything you had and couldn't do no more, where you was crying yourself to sleep at night, that is what matters. Those are the moments that matter, and we need to see those as a reader. Stop cheating your reader. Stop summing it up in 3 and 4 sentences and assuming that I'm going to get that I know what that means. That your hardship is exactly what my hardship means. And because you said hardship, that's a universal term. And now I know exactly what hardship really means. I have no idea what hardship means from you. I have no idea what your life is like. And people say, I just want to share my story. I want to talk about my experience because of the things that I've been through. What have you been through? Bruh, show me. Tell me, what have you been through? What have you endured? What is it that you have walked away from that you can now say, wow, I made it through that. Let me tell you about that. And tell us about that. Don't just summarize about that. Give us exacts and specifics and tell us about that. Does this make sense to you guys? Is this clear? Thank you. Love, love, love. Make sure you hit those likes. Let me know if this is good for you guys, if this is making sense for you guys, because it is the most common thing that happens in writing. And especially with new writing, we get to this place where we're not comfortable stepping out of ourselves. So we forget how valuable we are, and we limit the fact that we have a message for other people. So we just kind of wrap it up like we're talking to ourselves. Oh, this is this is my story. I went through this situation and I'm all the better for it. Well, if you want your story to be impactful, if you want it to reach people, then you ought to start telling us about the things that you went through, the things that you endured. And so let me explain to you like this. When you think about your entire life, right? Sometimes it boils down to minuscule moments. Like I said, the actual moments, precise and specific moments that matter. Real moments that matter to people. How can you make a connection with somebody in a real, tangible moment? That moment really, really matters. And I'm going to give you a personal example. And I gave this one to my session last night. When I think about the things that happened in my life and how I got to a different level and how I became this enlightened person, right? Sure had to wake up and become aware. It was a combination of things, but I can take it back to one moment, right? So I could never say to you, oh, I used to be out partying. I was 24 years old, making almost $60,000 a year. I was out, doing my thing, and things happened and I had to get my life together. Y'all don't know what just happened to Sheree. You have no clue what just took place in my life. You like, okay, get your life. What does that mean? What does get your life together mean? Explain that to me, right? But if I say to you, okay, so I'm at this juncture in my life, I'm young, I'm making a lot of money, but I don't know what I'm doing. So my answer to every question that somebody asks me is, I don't know. Sheree, what we doing? I don't know. Where are we going? I don't know. Well, how much is this going to take? I don't know. I never knew anything, right? So I always had this very, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. I didn't want to think about it. All I knew was I was young, I had some money, and I don't know. That was my answer. I don't know, right? But then I became a mother. And my daughter had to be about 3 years old. And we were coming in from, I don't know where we were coming from. I bought that. I don't remember exactly where we were coming from, but I remember carrying her in that evening and putting her down. And she was supposed to go from me sitting her on the floor or sitting her on her feet to go to bed. And she starts to walk around in circles and pace. Like, I watched her. Like, I'm looking at this kid, and she walks into my room, and she walks around the front of my bed and stands in front of my bathroom and comes out. And she's delusional, right? She's like cross-eyed, sleepy. And she comes back out into the living room, and I'm just standing there looking at her. And she looking at me, and she looks like, and with crust in her eyes. And she asked me, Mom, what do I do? And I was like, go to bed. And she just took it. Like, everything in her was like, okay. And she walked off, and she went to bed. Now, for some of you, y'all like, okay, what's the point of that story? I say this to you because that, for me, was a huge moment in my life. That moment is the moment I realized that I need to have answers for that kid. That her looking at me at 3 years old was not the first time that my child, or the last time, that there's a whole individual that is going to rely on me to tell them, what do I do? What do I do, Mom? And I better know something. I can't not know. I can't not have an answer. You know, there's no way I can say, I don't know what you should do. What am I do? Well, what am I supposed to say? She turned 12, 13, 14 years old. Mom, this is happening in my school. What should I do? I don't know. That's not good enough. Mom, I got college applications. I need to figure out how I'm going to get to this, how I'm going to pay you this. I don't know. That's not good enough. And that was a moment in my life where I realized that that is not enough. Not knowing is not enough. So you know what you ought to do, Sheree? You ought to find some stuff out. That's a moment, guys. That is a specific moment. That is a specific moment in my life that triggered something for me. I can take you back to that moment. In sharing that moment with you, I can draw a connection with you as a writer, as a mother, as a thought leader, as a parent, as all of these things, so that you can see how this lines up. So you can say, okay, what do you do? So then it goes even further for that. I didn't then go, okay, I need to figure out what do I do? And I have an answer for my daughter. I then did some work. You know what I did? I went to my pastor. Excuse me, Pastor Wanda. What do I do? I asked her, what do I do? What do I do? I got this person looking at me. And what do I do? And how do I know? Because my goal at this point was to start to know. I needed to know stuff. How do I know things? How do you become confident in what you know? And I had to learn how to know. I had to learn how to hear from God. I had to go through a process. Y'all hear me? Y'all feel what I'm trying to explain to you? It was a process, and I had direct instruction on what to do. And I wrote those things down, and I implemented those things in my life. All of this that I told you right now, there's no way if I were to write this in a book, I could say to you, I didn't know what to do, so I had to learn how to do what to do. And now I know everything to do. You missed everything. You missed the story. You missed all the valuable information. You got nothing. If I just sum that up for you and say, I just had to figure out what to do. I was tired of not knowing, and I needed to know what to do. Where's the validation? Where's the actual seeing? Where's the drawing and the connection? Does that make sense for you guys? Thank you. Thank you. I love all the likes and the hearts, all that stuff. Make sure you like and share, you know, especially if this is good for you, if this is validating for you, if this is, and I know this is where you're struggling, because this is where all writers struggle. In that first, especially coming into new writing, especially going into, this is the first time you're actually telling your story. You know, you have a hard time realizing just how valuable your story is, but you are the value. Your story, what you've been through, all of that matters tremendously. So you have to spend the time there unpacking that, showing us those tangible, those transparent moments, where we can see you, where we can connect with you as a reader. Stop cheating me out of what I came here for. I need to know how to get past something. I need to know how to learn. If you are like, if you are a mom like me, right? A single mom at the time trying to figure things out, you need to know how to know something. I'm not going to help you if I just skirt right past it. If I sum it up and go, I learned to get better. Well, Sheree, what did you do? That's a process. When you say I learned, that is a process, right? If I were to say to you right now, let's say Nell learned how to bowl. That is a process. Learned how to, those words together signifies a process. Something took place. This person didn't wake up and just become a bowling expert. They learned how to do something by action and application of something. You need to show us this action and this application in your writing, or you're going to miss your reader, period. You cheat them out of so much good stuff. You cheat them out of you. You cheat yourself out of your platform, out of being able to share what's good for the world. You miss so much if you just right on past it. And I know this takes work, right? So don't beat yourself up the first time. When you write your first draft, when you go back to the second time and look at this, I want you to look for those signifying words, those words that clue you into a time jump. Did I just jump and summarize my whole 20s in two paragraphs? You know, now you can condense, and that's much deeper concepts, but there's things that you can condense in your writing, absolutely. But if you are trying to get me to understand and make a connection with you, you better paint it. You better make it clear. I need to see. I need to know how we got here, or we're going to have a problem, or I'm not going to trust you as a writer. I'm not going to trust you as a writer. I'm not going to read what you have. I'm not going to look for you as an authority figure. If you're speaking on something, I'm going to ignore what you're saying. I'm just being Sheree. I'm being straight up with you guys. If you have not convinced me in your writing that you can hold me, that you have my best interest at heart, that I can connect with you, if you go to do something, you're on a speaking platform or you're promoting or presenting something, I'm not convinced. I'm not going to sow my money into it. I'm not going to sign up for your membership, for your workshop. I'm not going to pay you any mind whatsoever. I'm going to ignore you because there are lots of other people in the world who I could probably have a much better connection with. So you don't want to miss those opportunities when it comes to sharing and connecting with your reader by cheating them and wrapping up your life and your situation and your story and your testimony by just covering it in a couple words. It's so funny. And again, guys, it takes work. It takes work, especially in the writing process. So that's why writing is rewriting, is revision. So the first time that you go through it, it's not going to be perfect, you know. So that's why you do it a second time. You go back through and go, okay, I skipped that whole sentence. I skipped all of that. And it's amazing when I go into my sessions with my clients and I ask certain questions and I go, well, where were you at this moment in life? How'd you get here? And all of a sudden, it's like, you open up a whole can and they be like, I forgot all about that. Girl, I got divorced. I moved. I bought a house. Oh, really? That happened? You missed that, huh? You didn't tell us none of that. Okay. You might want to add that in here. You know what I'm saying? You might want to give us this. I'm laughing because it really happens all the time. And it's such a fun thing to do when I get into it with my clients because they light up and remember how amazing they are. I'm like, oh, I did that. Oh my gosh, I did do that. Yeah, Bo, you did that. You did all that. God equipped you to do all that. Write it down. That's my next step. Put it on the paper. Write it down now. Now that it's come to your remembrance. You got it now. Let's have that on this paper, please. Please. Please, can we have it? You know, can you make sure that I see what's going on and I connect with you, that you don't cheat me? I came here for some goods. I came here to get some valuable stuff that's going to change my life. I didn't come here for summary. I didn't come here for, I went through this. I endured this situation. Okay, congratulations. And it lets you also, when you do this, when you are this transparent and you do this intimate work in each section of your life, it lets you connect with exactly who you're supposed to connect with, right? Exactly. That story, that little bit of my life, whoever that's for, that's exactly for who that's for right now, today, this morning. That, like, me teaching you about writing right now, that's one thing. But that story could be beneficial for somebody in this exact place right now. You understand? So whatever you're going through, it may have nothing to do with being a parent. It may have nothing to do with being in business. It could be about real estate. It could be about dance. You know, it could be about, who knows, taking your business from bankruptcy to getting, you know, great credit and living in abundance. Whatever it is, that is uniquely you. And if you don't tell it, you miss the opportunity to connect with the people who need to hear uniquely you. Does that make sense for you guys? I hope so. I hope that that's clear. I hope that that's logical. I hope that these are actionable things that you can start to put into practice. I want you to do this, right? I give my guys in my intensive assignments. So, you know, this is my charge to you. All of you who are listening, paying attention, share, like, comment, all of this good stuff. I want you to do that work. I want you to go take a look at your outline. I want you to take a look at what you've written so far and see if there are places where you've just made grand leaps. Assumptive writing, I call it, where you have just gone, whoop, I just summed that whole thing up. Can I go in here? Is there something that happened in this time frame? Is there an exact situation that I can highlight, pull out one moment in my life that I can talk about here that's going to do the illustration for me, that's going to make the point for me? You know, I talk to you guys about tracking your process. This is why writing things down, keeping a journal matters, because these are those moments that really matter, that have merit, that have meaning, you know, that's staying power. It's these little things. Think about a movie. Think about the scenes in a movie. You know, how do you fall in love with a character? By the little scenes, by the things that they do, the parts of who they are. You know, all of those little minuscule moments in life, they matter tremendously. And you cheat your reader if you don't give us those about you, especially if you're writing about you. You know, if you skip over that, you do more harm than good. You do, absolutely, and it's almost you almost can't go back from it. You know, because again, now I don't trust you. I might not even like you. You know, but for real, I might like you. I don't know, but that's how that works. So I'm so convicted right now. Why are you convicted? You know, but so let me know if this makes sense. Let me know if this makes sense. I need to hear make sense, that this is clear for you guys, that you understand what I'm trying to get you to understand, you know, that you can see where this work is necessary, where it's a very, very important and integral part of writing, and writing to connect. You know, this is not just self-expression. You're just not writing to get it all out. You know, you are writing to make a connection with somebody. You're writing to change lives. This is nonfiction writing we're talking about. We're writing to make an impact, you know, so you want to make sure that you make the impact. Make the impact. If you're going through something right now, you're learning different things in business, you're moving into a new level in your life, take notes on your own life. Take notes. Pay attention, you know. If you have to take some new vitamins because you know, you got to get some new energy boosts going on, then write that down. You know, part of my journey, it might be I need to start eating more kale and carrots. That could be a part of what I have going on, because it helps my brain. But I need to teach you that. I might have to share that with you. That's inside information that came by way of learning. You know, it didn't come just because I stumbled upon it. It came from my personal experience. And if I want to help you, if I want to show you, then I need to show you me. I need to teach you by way of me. And I can't do that by summing me up. You cannot do that by shortchanging and wrapping your life up into 5 or 6 words. I made it through. Or people do this one sometimes. We have no backstory about you whatsoever. And then you come in and you'll say something, when I used to live a hard life. Well, what is a hard life? What does that mean? Yeah, well, you know, when I was arrested and I used to, you know, be out in these streets. Sir, sir, excuse me. You want to expand? You want to tell us a little bit more about that? You know, you want to give us some goods? Give up the goods. How you writing a book but you selfish? How you want to write a book but you holding on so tight to it? You can't even release it and let nobody see you. Well, what you writing about then? Seriously. That's a real question. I want you to answer that question. If you holding on so tight to your own story, to your own testimony, to your own intimate experiences, what are you writing about? You know what you're writing about? Nothing. Utterances. You're writing about repetitive. What you're writing is repetition. You keep repeating yourself. You keep giving these vague, scenarios. You keep trying to throw things out here that overgeneralize something that everyone can understand. That's what you're doing. You write in summaries and hoping that somebody gravitates to that summary. You write in hardships and thinking that hardships is a universal term, so everyone's going to gravitate to hardships. You got to give me precise, because your precise may not look like my precise. Out here in these streets, did you sell it or smoke it? Yes, right. You out here in these streets. What did you do? What were you doing? What does out here in these streets look like to somebody? That's a whole, I'm from the hood. Let's keep it 100. What does that mean? Out here in these streets means what? I had him laughing last night. I have terrible relationships with men sometimes, because I'd be like this. What do that mean exactly? You was doing what? Where? How? Who? When? Explain that. Give me the other definition. Do we have an alternative word for that? They like, Sheree, I wish you be specific, because I ain't trying to be out here in these streets all misconfused, all confused and discombobulated because I signed up for something. I don't know exactly what it was. So what does that mean? What does that really mean? Does that mean you had to sleep in the street? Does that mean you was out here selling drugs? Does that mean you was out here prostituting yourself? What does that mean when you say I'm out here in these streets? What does that mean? Tell me and show me. Show me. If that means as a single mom, you was out here in the streets and you worked 3 and 4 jobs. Does that mean you was sweeping up at the laundromat at midnight? Does that mean that you had to go work at IHOP at 2 o'clock in the morning? What does that mean if you was out? What do that mean for you? You understand? You understand? I really just want y'all to get this concept so much, because it is a game changer. It is a game changer in how you write and how you connect and approach your audience. What is going to be good for them? What is going to be valid for them? What in your story can you highlight and share that is going to make a difference for your reader? We need to hear you. We need to see you, know you, learn about you, fall madly in love with you. Let me like you. Give me the opportunity to connect with you. If you hide behind summarized sentences, I got nothing. You got nothing. Okay? I hope that makes sense this morning. Wow, I'm waking up and this is right on target. I'm glad. Being specific is very important. Being specific is extremely important. Very, very, it's intentional. You have to. I tell people this all the time when it comes to writing. Your words have so much value. Your words are so real. You cannot, and every word matters. Somebody asked me, like, every word I put on the paper matters? What would they on the paper for? If it doesn't matter, what do you have it here for? This not the let out. Your words is not playing the let out outside the club. We're not just hanging here chilling, looking cute. They are serving a purpose. They are designed to do something, to do some good work. So you're going to have to do that. And that work comes from being who you are. And that work comes from telling your story, telling us. And it's a fine, line. You learn the balance between what comes and what goes, but that's part of the writing process. Nobody gets it right first time out the gate. Never, not one time, not one single solitary time. I don't care what book you've ever written. Not one time is it ever perfect the first time. So you're going to waver back and forth. You're going to balance between how much do I want to expose, and it's you learn it as you go. But writing is one of those things. It's a skill. The more you do it, the sharper you get, the better you get at it. But if you practice these things and becoming comfortable and transparent with sharing who you are, and being specific in the details, and the details that matter, guys, the details that are relevant to your story, right? Relevant. So I gave you guys the story of, it was relevant to you in regards to where I was in my life, 23 years old, making a significant amount of money. That was relevant because of how that had me mentally. It is not relevant for you where I lived at that moment. It's not relevant for you that I drove a black car at that moment, or that I eat sushi. That is completely irrelevant. That has nothing to do with anything. So when people do that kind of embellishing, you add stuff that's unnecessary. You don't need that in the minute of details. You need the details that matter. You need the things that are poignant to your story, and they are valid, and they prove your point, and they are clear and intentional and specific to your audience, right? Make sense? I hope that's good for you guys. I'm going for 30 minutes. Oh my goodness. Okay. That's all I got for y'all this morning. because I got to get ready to go to the gym. So I hope that's clear. Again, guys, let me know. Give me a thumbs up. Ooh. Awesome sauce. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. But get to writing. Okay? I want you guys to get to writing. I want you to stop cheating your readers. I want you to appreciate how valuable you really are, and the nuances, the things that you have that are a part of what make you up. All of that matters. So track your process. Remember how valuable you are, and remember that we don't know your story. You can't just sum it up. You do nobody no favors if you just sum it up. Okay? All right, guys. I hope that was good for you guys. Remember, I was teaching. I like to teach, Martisha. Y'all know me already. I like it. Thank you. God bless you too. Now I already know. That's my thing. I like that. So, but I like to be good to you guys, and I hope that that's valuable, and it proves fruitful for you. And we can talk about it next time. I'll be on this Friday, Fiction Friday. But I want to know where you are. Talk to me. Share in the comment section. This is where I'm struggling. This is where I'm having these issues. Or even if you have a line that you're struggling with, maybe we can talk about some suggestions. What is it that you can do? There's so much. There's so much, and writing is such a wonderful process because it's all different for everybody. I can give everyone the same sentence to start off with, and we all come up with a whole different story. So there's ways and different things that you can do to get your story out. But I want you to do the work of starting to find the value in your story and sharing who you are. Stop cheating your readers. Okay? All right, gang. I love you. Have an amazing, amazing day, and I will catch up with you guys again soon.